It's a very strange, funny time where everybody would love to be able to be themselves, but they can't.
Winners wrote, but what actually happened? It's pretty devastating.
I mean, to become fascinated with the personal life, or the thoughts and opinions of a person who pretends for a living, who lies for money.
After years of staying silent, Johnny Depp has finally had enough. At 62, he's naming the 7 actors he absolutely can't stand. And surprisingly, every single one of them is tied to Amber Heard.
All his ducks were in a row, and I tortured him. I really did. I actually did. Because he was always talking about these video games, you know.
Behind closed doors, Depp wasn't just battling Amber. He was battling the men he thought she was getting close to.
Suspected that Amber was having an affair with James Franco, correct? That was the reason for your argument.
Yes.
From nasty nicknames and drunken outbursts to career sabotage and icy on-set tension, these 7 names represent the fallout from a relationship that spiraled into madness. So let's get into the details. For decades, Johnny Depp played the Hollywood game in silence. The quirky outsider, the misunderstood genius, the reluctant heartthrob. From indie cult classics to billion-dollar blockbusters, he built a career on mystery, rarely giving the press more than a sly smirk or cryptic answer. He wasn't the kind of star to start feuds or air out dirty laundry, at least not publicly. But that version of Johnny, long gone.
I keep wondering about the word comeback because I didn't go anywhere. As a matter of fact, I live about 45 minutes away.
After years of courtroom battles, media storms, canceled projects, and shattered relationships, the 62-year-old actor seems to have finally reached his breaking point, and seems like Depp has revealed exactly who made his Hollywood journey hell. 7 names he no longer has time to forgive or forget. And here's the jaw-dropper. Every single one of them is related to Amber Heard. That's right. The woman at the center of one of Hollywood's biggest legal scandals is also the common thread in some of Depp's most bitter celebrity feuds. Some of these actors were her flirty co-stars. Some were rumored flings. And some, Depp believed they were having full-blown affairs with her. And we all watched it play out, Depp v. Heard. The trial that shook Hollywood to its core. Now Depp's pulling back the curtain and calling out the actors he believes played a role in that chaos. One name that lit a fire in Depp's personal life was James Franco, and not because of acting competition. During the Depp v. Heard trial, Amber Heard testified that Depp hated James Franco. Why? Jealousy, suspicion, and possibly betrayal. It all traces back to the Adderall Diaries 2015, where Heard starred opposite Franco. Depp reportedly believed she had cheated on him with Franco, and his reaction was explosive. During a now infamous flight, Heard says Depp launched into a jealous rage, interrogating her about her scenes with Franco before things turned physical mid-air.
He was mad at me for taking the job with James Franco. He hated James Franco.
Whether Franco was guilty of anything or not, Depp's hatred was real and deep. To him, Franco wasn't just a co-star. He was a threat, a symbol of infidelity, and possibly the wedge that helped crack his already fragile marriage. Just when you thought the Johnny Depp-Amber Heard saga couldn't get messier, here comes James Franco getting dragged right into the middle of it, and not in a good way. According to new testimony, Depp didn't just dislike Franco, he allegedly despised him. And now we might be starting to understand why.
Already accusing me of kind of secretly having a thing with him in my past since we had done Pineapple Express together.
This week in court, Depp flat out claimed that Franco was creepy and R toward Heard. Words Depp says he didn't make up, but ones he alleges came straight from Heard's mouth. Let's backtrack for a second. Remember those leaked elevator photos from 2016? The ones showing Heard and Franco cozying up late at night inside Johnny Depp's penthouse building? Yeah, those just went from awkward to potentially explosive. Apparently, Depp was fuming over those images, especially since they surfaced around the same time Heard accused him of physical abuse, including slapping her and dangling her tiny dog out of a window. He, of course, denies those allegations. But on day 2 of Depp's libel trial against the Sun, the courtroom drama reached a new level of chaos when Franco's name came up in a big way. Depp testified that Heard had previously warned him about Franco's behavior on the set of Pineapple Express. She allegedly said Franco made repeated unwanted sexual advances, even tried to kiss her, and described him as a creep and a R. Depp's words were chilling. She had to sort of run from the advances at one point. She felt he was creepy and RI, so I said a R. So if Heard really said all that, why the late-night elevator visits with the same man a few years later? Depp reportedly felt betrayed and blindsided, especially since the alleged affair with Franco was said to have occurred in 2016, the same year their marriage publicly imploded. James Franco had earlier requested a sealed deposition in this whole legal mess, clearly trying to avoid public involvement. But thanks to Depp's bombshell testimony, Franco's name is now front and center again. And this could be career damaging. Let's not forget, Franco has already been dodging landmines ever since the #MeToo movement exposed.
5 women have accused Franco of inappropriate or exploitative behavior, which he disputes.
This courtroom name drop might be the last thing Franco needed while he's trying to lie low and rehab his image. But in the war between Depp and Heard, no one's getting out clean. And James Franco may have just become collateral damage. If there's one name that shows how fast alliances can turn toxic, it's Paul Bettany. Depp once counted him as a close friend and confidant, someone he could blow off steam with during his darkest moments. But those moments would later come back to haunt him in court.
Based on your own observations, how would you describe Mr. Bettany's relationship with Miss Heard while you and Miss Heard were together?
Abominable.
Hollywood friendships usually fly under the radar until they don't. In the case of Johnny Depp and Paul Bettany, their little-known bond didn't just quietly exist in the background. It was dragged, kicking and screaming, into the courtroom spotlight. And what came out? Disturbing texts, drug-fueled admissions, and a trail of drama that has people questioning just how sweet this friendship really was. It all unraveled in 2020, when Depp sued the UK's The Sun for calling him a wife-beater. As part of the legal circus, private text exchanges between Depp and Bettany were read aloud, and they were anything but friendly banter. One infamous 2013 message joked about burning and violating Amber Heard's corpse. Let that sink in. Depp later claimed it was a Monty Python reference, but the damage was already done. And let's not forget, Bettany has always publicly defended Depp, tweeting in 2016 that his longtime friend was the sweetest, kindest, gentlest man. This despite being knee-deep in accusations of domestic. Why so loyal? Because these two weren't just close, they were entangled.
Ms. Heard despised Mr. Bettany mainly because we had become such close friends.
Their friendship began on the set of The Tourist in 2010, and Bettany has described it like something out of a rom-com. He once gushed, "I looked at him and he looked at me, and we haven't stopped laughing since." Cute? Sure. Until you realize this meet-cute evolved into a codependent, drug-laced bromance that even Amber Heard allegedly saw as a threat. According to Depp himself, Heard hated Bettany. Why? Because he was a showstopper. Someone who could steal Depp's attention, affection, and maybe even loyalty. Depp claimed Heard would explode with jealousy whenever Bettany was around, once even allegedly demeaning Bettany's stepson to the point of tears. That's not just petty. That's war.
Spoke over him, and then it started to get quite rude. She got mean.
But the friendship didn't just stay on a spiritual or emotional level. It went chemical. In court, Depp admitted that he and Bettany shared much more than laughs, including alcohol, cocaine, Xanax, and alcohol. He openly stated that if Bettany was feeling anxious or unpleasant, he'd supply whatever substance he asked for. These aren't just party buddies. This sounds like two grown men propping each other up with a pharmaceutical cocktail. And while Bettany once admitted to battling drug addiction since the death of his younger brother, the question becomes, was Depp helping him cope or keeping him hooked? Bettany himself tried to downplay the scandal when his horrifying texts became public, calling the experience embarrassing and chalking to a world without context. But context or not, the texts are there, and the jokes weren't just off color. They were violent, vulgar, and shockingly specific.
That you just referenced, other than Mr. Bettany, who else saw that text message at the time that it was sent?
No one. Of course not.
Oh, and about that sweet side of the friendship? Depp shared an anecdote about Bettany's daughter calling him uppy uppy, which he later slipped into dialogue while filming Mordecai. Sounds harmless, even endearing, until you remember this is the same man who sent messages about burning a woman alive, and the same friend who got tangled in drug binges and legal crossfire. At this point, the Depp-Bettany friendship is less a wholesome bond and more a cautionary tale about loyalty, blurred boundaries, and how Hollywood bromances can go from heartwarming to horrifying with one subpoena. In a legal war fueled by love, rage, and substance abuse, Paul Bettany may have entered as a friend, but he left as Exhibit A, behind the scenes of Public Enemies, 2009. Tensions boiled over between Depp and director Michael Mann. While the film came together beautifully on screen, the working environment was anything but smooth. Reports from the set claimed Depp grew increasingly frustrated with Mann's obsessive, perfectionist directing style. Things got so tense that Depp allegedly stopped speaking to Mann entirely, forcing the crew to mediate communication between the two. Mann later downplayed the friction, calling it typical creative differences. But insiders painted a different picture. Depp felt disrespected, restricted, and creatively boxed in. And considering he's known for fiercely protecting his artistic freedom, it's no surprise this collaboration ended in a Cold War. Michael Mann is a director known for his cinematic precision, or, depending on who you ask, a relentless perfectionist with the patience of a serial killer and the ego of a warlord. And while his obsessive eye for detail has birthed some of Hollywood's most iconic crime films, it also seems to have sparked an explosive behind-the-scenes war with none other than Johnny Depp during the making of Public Enemies.
They weren't together, not to make a myth out of it. They weren't together. They didn't have that many scenes together.
Is that the kind of...
In early interviews, Depp tried to keep things diplomatic, emphasis on tried. When asked about Mann's directing style, Depp described it with the kind of backhanded admiration that screams, "I hate this guy, but I can't say it outright." He said Mann's approach was about the details of the details of the details, joking that a new word should be invented for the director's neurotic levels of obsession. It teeters on microscopic obsession with every molecule of every moment, Depp told Entertainment Weekly. Sounds like praise, until you read between the lines. EW jokingly interpreted the quote as Depp's polite way of calling Mann an obsessive asshole. Their words, not ours. But by the time Depp added, "When do you get to stand on the running board of a 1932 Buick blasting a 50-round clip from a Tommy gun? And with Michael, you do it again and again and again." Even he sounded exhausted. And apparently he was. Rumors swirled even before Public Enemies hit theaters. Constant screaming matches, walk-offs, and cold shoulders on set. Nikki Finca, Hollywood's original tea spiller, started digging. She originally posted an open call for dirt. "If you've got details about the constant battling I heard took place between Michael Mann and Johnny Depp, email me." That quote mysteriously disappeared later, replaced with a toned-down version. Someone get to her? Studio pressure? Legal threats? Classic Hollywood damage control. But it wasn't just industry gossip. According to insiders quoted by the Daily Beast, things got so bad Depp allegedly stopped speaking to Mann entirely. You read that right, the star of the damn movie refused to communicate with its director. Universal executive Dylan Clark had to act as a literal human buffer, relaying messages between the two. A glorified walkie-talkie and $1 million standoff. And Clark? He later resigned, Hollywood speak, for "he got the hell out." No wonder the final film felt disjointed, cold, long-winded, and only catching fire in the final act. Public Enemies looked like what it probably was. A film made under siege conditions. What's truly wild? No one involved has ever officially commented on the fallout. The radio silence from Depp, Mann, and Universal practically screams, there's way more to this story. And knowing how Mann operates, from the 70-plus takes for one line of dialogue to his refusal to budge on any creative decision, it's easy to imagine why Depp, no stranger to chaotic sets himself, finally hit his breaking point. It's not like this kind of thing is rare for Mann either. From Heat to Miami Vice, stories of his obsessive demands, on-set chaos, and friction with actors are practically folklore. But this time, the actor in question wasn't some no-name rookie. It was Johnny freaking Depp at the peak of his power, and even he couldn't survive Mann's directorial battlefield without scars.
I mean, they had that one scene together, which was very brief, They had the one scene together, and it's a difficult scene. I mean,
The real tragedy, all that behind-the-scenes drama might have cost Public Enemies its greatness. Instead of Oscar buzz, it got lukewarm reviews, audience fatigue, and one hell of a strained Hollywood silence. Even Harvey Weinstein, of all people, stepped in to weirdly endorse the film, despite having nothing to do with it. That's how desperate the PR cleanup got. In the end, Public Enemies became less of a gangster epic and more of a cautionary tale. What happens when two Hollywood powerhouses in front of a rolling camera, and no one backs down? Needless to say, they haven't worked together since, and probably never will. Sometimes the hate isn't mutual, but it's still very real. Corey Feldman has long harbored resentment toward Johnny Depp, accusing him of taking a role that Feldman believed was his, the lead in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Feldman has said in interviews that he was originally eyed for the part, and that losing it to Depp completely derailed his comeback. It's a sore spot that he's mentioned publicly more than once, claiming Depp stole a pivotal moment in his career.
Tell me some movies that you could have done, should have done, didn't do.
Okay, so I think the worst one, if we're gonna go right to the heart of the matter, and this is probably gonna piss off some people, but hey, sometimes you gotta do it.
In a story that sounds like it was ripped straight from a Hollywood revenge script, former child star Corey Feldman just dropped a bombshell, and the target is none other than Johnny Depp. During a raw and emotional appearance on the Magnificent Others podcast, Feldman revealed that he was originally cast as Arnie Grape, the mentally disabled teenager in the 1993 drama What's Eating Gilbert Grape, a role that catapulted Leonardo DiCaprio to stardom and earned him his first Oscar nomination. But according to Feldman, that breakout moment was stolen from him by Depp himself. And just like that, Feldman claims he was erased from the project. But here's where it gets personal and deeply painful. Feldman insists he was sober at the time. Fresh out of rehab, turning his life around, trying to help others do the same, including his close friend River Phoenix, who tragically died of an overdose outside Depp's now infamous Viper Room nightclub later that same year. And who could blame him? Watching Leonardo DiCaprio take the world by storm in a role Feldman believes was rightfully his would be enough to sour anyone. Had I not been pushed out and done that role, who knows what would have happened from that point forward, he reflected, but you don't hang on those. You get past them. Still, there's no doubt the bitterness lingers. This was the first time Feldman had ever shared this story publicly, and he knew it would make waves. And Feldman isn't just talking about career politics. He's talking about the Hollywood machine that chews kids up and spits them out, a machine he spent decades trying to expose. While Depp went on to lead blockbuster franchises, win fan devotion, and command headlines, Feldman's life veered in a darker direction, one marred by trauma, addiction, and systemic silence. In his memoir, Choreography, and numerous interviews, Feldman has repeatedly claimed that he and his late best friend Corey Haim were victims of a Hollywood pedophile ring, one that operated in plain sight, protected by power, and ignored by authorities. He's described the abuse as a sick, open secret in the industry, alleging that some of the same people who knew about it also worked overtime to keep the truth hidden. In 2017, amid the rise of #MeToo, Feldman tried once again to break through the noise, launching a crowd-funded campaign to finance a documentary that would expose the he says still walk free in Hollywood. And yet, despite his persistence, he's often been dismissed, mocked, or flat out ignored. Meanwhile, the men who allegedly derailed his career and enabled abuse continue to thrive. This one hurts the most. For years, Johnny Depp and Tim Burton were inseparable, an artistic dream team responsible for some of the most iconic films of the early 2000s. Edward Scissorhands, Sleepy Hollow, Corpse Bride, Sweeney Todd, their twisted, whimsical brand was unmistakable. But after 2012's Dark Shadows, the partnership vanished. No projects, no interviews, no public support.
The Right Thing was around, sure. I mean, I have no, like I said, I don't really have any, like I said, I'm going to work with my ex-wife or my friends or this.
Fans have speculated for years. Did Burton distance himself after Depp's legal troubles? Did creative differences split them apart? Or did personal drama finally catch up to their professional magic? Whatever the reason, insiders say things got cold between the two, cold enough to be noticed. For longtime fans, their separation is more than a breakup. It's the end of an era. You know things are bad when your jealousy gets its own nickname. In court, Amber Heard revealed that Depp frequently accused her of cheating with co-stars, and Leonardo DiCaprio was a frequent target. Depp reportedly referred to him as Pumpkinhead, mocking his appearance and accusing Heard of sleeping with him after an audition. Liam Hemsworth wasn't spared either. Depp's paranoia ran so deep that Heard said he would interrogate her about every male she worked with, implying affairs and infidelity. These accusations weren't just private arguments. They fueled public feuds, shaped the narrative around their relationship, and became key elements in the court of public opinion. And while DiCaprio and Hemsworth have never publicly addressed Depp's accusations, they became unwilling symbols of his spiraling mistrust and landed squarely on the list of names he couldn't stand. Of course, the most toxic feud of all was the one that nearly destroyed both their lives. Depp and Amber Heard's relationship didn't just end, it imploded, becoming a full-blown Hollywood scandal that dragged fans, courts, studios, and media outlets into the chaos. The accusations on both sides were explosive: physical abuse, verbal torment, manipulation, recordings, lawsuits, countersuits, career sabotage. The trials, first in the UK, then in the US, exposed the darkest sides of their marriage, leaving the public unsure who to believe.
Just stood there staring at the stupid light.
Depp Amber wasn't just a failed relationship. She became the face of betrayal, loss, and destruction. The woman, he says, cost him his reputation, his career, and years of peace. Even after court victories and attempted comebacks, her shadow still looms over his narrative. If there's one person Depp truly can't forgive, it's her. Johnny Depp spent decades hiding behind quirky characters and cryptic smiles, avoiding controversy whenever possible. But after everything he's been through, the lawsuits, betrayals, and career freefall, he's finally speaking his truth. These 7 names aren't just grudges. They're the scars of a man who trusted the wrong people, lost control of his narrative, and nearly lost himself. Now at 62, Depp isn't just calling them out, he's reclaiming the spotlight. And in Hollywood, that might be the boldest act of all. That's it for today, folks. Goodbye.